All right, so welcome back to our Eden Lifestyle Live channel. And today we're starting a new series as well. This will be about cooking recipes. You know, I brought out the big dogs today. I brought out my wife. You can say hello.
Hi.
What's your name? Tell everyone your name.
Hi, I'm Inga.
Okay.
Welcome.
So Inga Renoir here, and we started this segment, and it is called our experiments, our plant-based experiments. So we'll be experimenting with plant-based foods and showing you how to make simple things in your kitchen, so that way you can be able to make some plant-based foods. And I know some of you have been following us for a while, and as you've been following us, some of you have been asking about what can I eat, what can I cook, because you want to eat healthier. So today it's all about cooking healthy plant-based meals. So today we have on the menu, we have number one, we have a cashew cheese sauce. And that cashew cheese sauce can not only be used, like let's say to make mac and cheese, lasagna, and all of your cheese desires, but also that cheese sauce, or we sometimes call it nacho cheese, natural regular cheese, and that also can be used on salad as a salad dressing as well. What else will we be cooking today?
Well, we'll be making some plant-based milk and some butter. Better than butter.
Yes, called better than butter. Because as we go throughout the recipes here, 3 recipes we're to cover within 1 hour. So hopefully we can get through everything in a timely manner. But also the butter recipe, it looks like butter, it tastes like butter, it spreads like butter, but it ain't butter, it is better than butter. So we're going to do our better than butter recipe. So we have 3 powerful recipes for you today that you can use in your regular cooking. And we chose this here because this is some things that people use probably every single day. People probably use milk every day in their cereals and so forth. People use cheese probably quite often, and also butter. People use butter quite often as well. So I'm going to show you how to make the substitutes for those foods that you use on a regular basis. So let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to begin with is our milk recipe. And right now, what are we using here for our milk recipe?
Well, we have some almonds, and we place them in some boiling hot water to blanch them so that you can take the skin off really easily.
Yep, and you see right now she's just snapping it off right now. And the skin comes off of the almonds. And the reason why we do this here with the almonds is because some people like the almonds to be white. So you have that white almond milk. So taking out the skin of the almonds would get rid of some of that brownness of the almonds when you make your almond milk. So then you blanch your almonds so they can come out white, and how you're used to them when you buy them from the store. So you just snap them one by one. We're just doing this here for illustration purposes, but we're not going to stay here throughout this video and snap each one of those almonds because it will probably take us all day. So then with our milk recipe here, we use our almonds here. So you can use, just raw almonds. You can barely get raw almonds nowadays, but also roasted almonds is fine. Roasted almonds, you can get some lightly salted, or you can get unsalted. So with our almond milk, we do add a little bit of salt in there because you want to add a little bit of that flavor back into that's the almond milk. But we have lightly salted almonds as well for our almond milk, and we have to be able to. And if you hear any noise in the background, just know we have some kids. We have 2 kids right now, so we might have them maybe pop up in the shot every now and then. So just be aware of that. Yes, so then our almonds, we use lightly salted almonds, so that way we don't have to add the salt to the milk because it's already added into the almonds. And this here added some sea salt as well. And we'll explain as we go through our recipes what is the best salt to use. We'll explain what is the best ingredients in our food. So this is not going to just be a cooking show where you learn how to cook, but we want to explain to you the ingredients that we put into your food. So this is going to be very educational as well, very educational class that we're going to begin with. So this is our recipe here, and my wife is going to do a lot of the recipe stuff here. She has some gifted hands. So I love her cooking. And also the first thing that we did when we got together, when we met each other, the first thing that we did was we cooked together. So we had a little bit of cooking at a house, a family house back home where we live in St. Lucia, and we had a good time cooking together. So that's the first activity that we did. So we've been cooking together ever since. So then we're going to use, first of all, we're going to start off with a cup of almonds. Now, just keep in mind here, we're using almonds for this recipe. This is going to make almond milk. But you can use any other nut that you want to. Okay? So you can use, we made milk with cashews. We've made milk with sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds is a little cheaper on the cheaper end. Now you just have to experiment to see the taste of what you like. So then we're using almonds there, but you can also use, we've used walnut for walnut milk before. So the substitute that we do in here, or the recipe that we give you, you can substitute the almonds for any of those other nuts that you may have in your kitchen, that you may have at home. And you can use that as well to make your nut milk. So 1 cup of nuts, so we're using almonds in this case, and then we're going to use 4 cups of water. So we're going to use 4 cups of water in this recipe here. And this recipe is very simple recipe as well. Now, the great thing about making milk from home is that you don't get all those additives and all those, ingredients in your food that you don't want, those unwanted ingredients. So you know exactly what is going into your food. And when you look at some of those milks on a supermarket shelf, they have a list of 500 ingredients. I'm just exaggerating. But when you make this milk here, we use basically about 3 ingredients, maybe 4 for the most. And that's all you need to make milk. So the next thing that we're going to do here, we're going to add a little bit of sweetener. So just a sweetener. Now we use here agave, and we use natural sweeteners, substitutes, because we try to stay away from the granulated crystallized sugar. It's basically a 0-caloric food. It doesn't have no nutrients whatsoever. So this here is lower glycemic index, and also it has nutrients in there as well. So a lot of times substitutes that we use for our sweetener, like sugar, we use agave. We may use maple syrup. We'll use honey or any of those syrup type of sugars, or we use dried fruits and so forth as a substitute for crystallized sugar that has little or no nutrients in there. And maybe one day we can talk about the horrible effects of sugar in our body. But for now, we just know that sugar robs your body of essential nutrients because your body needs nutrients to metabolize some of that glucose from that sugar. And when it's not in the food, it robs it from your body. So you become deficient in calcium and so forth, leading to cavities, bad joints, and so forth. So just keep that in mind as well. So some sweetener in there. Now you do this to taste. So everyone has different taste levels of what they can tolerate in terms of their sweetness. So you add the sweetener to taste. If you want to know how much salt you should add, if you have an unsalted almonds, you can add a pinch of salt in there, or like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and that should be enough salt for your almond milk recipe. And now the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to blend it up. Some things that you can add to your milk, we don't have it here with us. You can add also some vanilla extract to give it a nice vanilla flavor. Like you buy at the supermarket shelf, you buy a vanilla milk, almond milk, and so forth. So you can add some vanilla extract in there. We try to get the ones that is made with vegetable glycerin and not the ones that is made with alcohol, because we just don't believe in consuming alcohol. We on a no alcohol type of diet, so we don't include alcohol in our diet. So we're going to start blending. It's going to be a little noisy. All right, so now if you notice here, we are using a different kind of blender. This blender here is called a Vitamix blender. I'm sure many of you listening right now have probably heard about this blender, but this blender is a lifesaver. It is worth the investment. So my wife is gonna pour the almond milk inside of here. So you see it has a little bit of a brown tint to it. So if you can snap off the skin of blanch the almonds like we showed you with the hot water and let it soak in the hot water for at least 5 minutes, and then you snap it off. Afterwards, you can run it under cold water to make it easier to snap off the skin. But also with the almonds here, we see here that you can also use a nut milk bag or cheesecloth. Some people call it cheesecloth. Or some of you don't have any access to that. You can use a white cotton t-shirt. White cotton, because the white doesn't have the dyes. And those dyes, some of it is not good for our body. Can be carcinogenic. So you have just the white, so there's no dyes in there, and the organic cotton, clothing, and you can squeeze out some of that almonds, so you can make the fiber stay behind. You trap the fiber into that cheesecloth or that nut milk bag or the t-shirt, and you squeeze out the milk into the container that you like as well.
Okay. Rinse these things out.
So what we're gonna do here is maybe pour out some of this. Okay, I was gonna make you use this jar here. That's okay.
I'll be right back.
So now, another thing I was just mentioned about the Vitamix blender as well is that the Vitamix blender is something that you probably want to get in your kitchen. A Vitamix blender can cost upwards to maybe $350, $400. But if you get it on the website, you can even look for reconditioned blenders, and it's a cheaper price. But also you can get some of these things on sale. I know a lot of people have said before, they have gone to Costco and they've gotten the Vitamix blender at a really reasonable price on sale. So that's something that you can look for as well. The Vitamix blender we've had this one right here for almost 10 years already, and it hasn't showed no signs of wear. So then it's just a long-lasting blender that can last you for many years to come, and it just emulsifies everything. So if you want to make something to a really liquid form, to blend it up, then you can use the Vitamix blender, and it really emulsifies whatever food, whatever stuff that you're making. And I've used some of those, like this, let's say oyster blenders, the cheaper home-grade blenders that you can find at those box stores, and those things really struggle to blend stuff. All right, so just get a Vitamix blender. It's gonna save you a fortune. All right, so we're gonna go to our next recipe right now. And as we just showed you how to make some nut milk. You can use this nut milk, as we said before, in your cereal. You can use it for anything that you use nut milk for. And we're gonna switch gears now. We're gonna get into our cheese recipe. Our natural regular cheese recipe, natural cheese. Okay, so then, now what we're going to do here, all right, I'm going to start off with a cup of cashews. And you can use, so people might ask, do you use roasted or do you use raw cashews? So actually, roasted actually gives it a nice flavor. Some people like the raw cashews, but the roasted gives it a nice flavor. So 1 cup of roasted or raw cashews. For some of you who don't have a Vitamix blender and your blender is not as powerful, I would suggest soaking your cashews for at least 4 hours, or you can even do it overnight. You can soak your cashews so you can make it softer. So when you blend it, it blends up much easier. Okay? So then we're gonna just use a cup of cashews, and then we're gonna add a cup of water in there as well. So 1 cup of water. Okay, and then we're gonna add some pimientos. A 1/4 cup of pimientos. My wife can just dump it in. She has an eyeball for this thing. She's made it so many times that Is that a 1/4 cup?
A little more won't hurt.
Okay. So now you can see we don't have to stick to a rigid recipe. You can experiment with this. And we always tell people, that's why we call this the plant-based experiments. Because you can experiment with these things there. And we have our little baby talking in the background here. So we're just gonna tell our child to walk around you first so she doesn't make so much noise. So then you don't have to be rigid with recipes. Use our recipes. The first time I make a recipe, I do everything to the T. Follow the recipe, and I taste it. We have actually a document on our notes. We actually call it our experiments because we've been experimenting with different foods. And what we do is we make this food, and then we critique our own food. We say, okay, this needs a little more salt. you need to take a little, put less pimientos in there and maybe put more of this. And then this is what you do. You experiment with the stuff that you make at home. And then you're able to master your recipes. So that's what we do here. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't feel bogged down to a recipe, but experiment once you have made it one time. Okay? So also we're going to add some nutritional yeast flakes. So the nutritional yeast flakes is what gives it its cheesy flavor. Also, nutritional yeast flakes it's a bacteria, just like you use yeast. So you have your yeast. So it's an inactive form of yeast. So it's not active. And basically, because of that, it has some B vitamins in there as well, included in that too. So we're going to use a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast flakes, and also that nutritional yeast flakes gives that its cheesy flavor, makes it cheesy. Not as cheesy as you used to. There are some other stuff that you can do to make your cheese really cheesy, like adding in some like lactic acid and all this different stuff to give it that sourness. But we're not going to use all this for this recipe today. Also, we're going to do here some garlic powder. So we're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then we're also going to use, after the garlic powder, we're going to use a teaspoon of onion powder as well. And this is a very simple recipe here. And then the next thing that we're going to add in is some lemon juice. So right now we're going to squeeze some lemons ourselves, so fresh lemons. So it's not going to be a lemon juice that you buy from a bottle. We've made it with the ones from the bottle. It's you can use that, but it doesn't have that flavor that the natural lemons itself have. Okay, it doesn't have the natural flavor that those lemons itself have. And so just one lemon, a whole lemon. So a whole lemon or a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. But we just found out that a whole lemon, especially not a small one, but a large enough one, it can be able to juice a 1/4 cup, about a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. So we're going to add that lemon in there. And then we're mixing the savor to life here. The savor of life, we're going to use some sea salt, some Himalayan pink salt. Now the reason why we use the Himalayan pink salt here is because it has more minerals. It has approximately about 82 minerals in there, whereas when you use a table salt, it is basically sodium chloride. So it doesn't have as much minerals, and sodium raises your blood pressure. So when you have the lower sodium content in the pink Himalayan salt, but coupled with a bunch of other minerals together, it's actually a nutritive food that you can consume in your body. So I tell people all the time, you don't want to be on a salt-free diet, because a salt-free diet is not the best for you. It's not the best for your health. However, you want to use salt in moderation, but actually some studies have even shown that using the pink Himalayan salt can actually help to regulate blood pressure. So substitute your table salt for Himalayan pink salt is probably the best policy for you, especially if you have blood pressure. But the most important thing for blood pressure, to bring down blood pressure, sodium is good to reduce, but what is more effective is increasing your potassium intake. And there have a lot of studies that have shown reducing sodium versus increasing potassium. We see here that the blood pressure reduces much better when you increase your potassium intake versus decreasing your sodium intake. So potassium, where do you find potassium? In your fruits and vegetables. Especially, those yellow fruits have high potassium in there, dark green leafy vegetables as well. So you can pour the salt in, a teaspoon.
1 teaspoon?
Yeah, a teaspoon of salt. And I believe that is it. The only thing that we're missing here from our recipe that you can add, it's added. You don't have to add it in, but it adds probably a slight bit of more cheesiness to it as well, is you can use this thing called tahini. tahini is made from the sesame seeds. So there are sesame seeds that you can use, or tahini, and you just use, less than probably like 2 tablespoons of tahini, something like that, or add probably a little more than that of sesame seeds, maybe 3 tablespoons of sesame seeds, and you can add that into your cheese recipe here. So this is going to be a liquid form here as well, and probably by the time we finish blending this up here, my wife is going to explain how to do this as well for how to make the solid. And if you have headphones on, we're sorry. We should have told you, turn on the volume. I'm not sure how loud it's going to be, but hopefully it's not too loud. So explain to them how they can make this into like a solid block of cheese there.
So you'll use something called agar, which is this right here. You can get this online anywhere in a health food store. It's a gelatin substitute. You get it from sea moss and seaweeds. What it does is it makes like a jello-like texture. So it's a powder, and you can take this and you put it on the stove in some water. So you can do like 2 tablespoons in a cup of water. So with the cheese recipe, you'll have to exclude the water at first. You'll put all the ingredients in, and then you'll mix your water and your agar powder. So you'll add 2 teaspoons of agar to 1 cup of water. And you put that on the stove and warm it up. And it's going to make like a nice, soft jello-like texture, but you don't want it to get too hard. And then you're going to pour that in and mix it. And it's going to get hard really quickly. So as it cools down, it gets more solid. And then that'll make your solid cheese.
Yeah, and so what we actually want to do in the future, one of the things I was thinking about doing is having a cooking class just on cheeses. So we're going to make all different types of cheeses, because there's a cheese that you can make with the same recipe here, but it substitutes 2 ingredients to make a different type of cheese. So there's many cheeses that you can make, from feta cheese that you can put in your lasagna. We have this natural cheese that we make here as well. We have a garlic type of cheese with some garlic dill cheese that we use as well. This is one of the favorites. People love this one here. And just many different types of cheeses. Like we made Alfredo sauce as well, for pasta and stuff like that.
We use tofu to make that one, and then we also make a potato carrot cheese.
Yeah, potato
and
carrot cheese.
that one can get kind of solid too.
And that one is for the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
So when you make them, a big mac and cheese in particular. This one here, we love this one. Like let's say you want to make a runny, saucy type of mac and cheese. But then for a big mac and cheese, when you put it in the oven and we bake it, there is the carrot potato. And the thing is, with plant-based foods, we use some things that maybe seem unconventional for, like, let's say cheese and so forth. But, by using those different types of food, we get the texture that we want, and we get the taste that we want and so forth. So when you hear potato and carrots, some people might think potato and carrots for cheese. And at the same time, we have this thing for like, let's say, the brownies. We use black bean brownie, and it's just some unconventional foods that we use to make some plant-based substitutes. And we have a lot of stuff to share, like for cooking. Hopefully we can be consistent with these cooking classes that we're doing here as well. We want to be more consistent, maybe having multiple videos on this channel throughout the week, not just one per week. That would be ideal, but we only, 2 people, so we don't want to do too much. But at the same time, we have a lot of ideas for having cooking classes there on this channel, throughout the weeks and so forth. So, yep, this is our cheese recipe here. This smells really good. And maybe, I don't know if you want to...
I'll bring it back.
You can show, yeah, sure. So you're going to pour it out and show you guys what it looks like. So just remember that this cheese is a little bit more on the runny side. And this cheese, you can make it solid, as my wife mentioned, with the agar-agar, and it makes it more like a block of cheese. It's not going to be really tough, but it's going to be like a little soft block of cheese that you can actually slice and so forth. We use it for, like, let's say people have like a dinner and they want to have like light refreshments. We have some crackers there and stuff like that, and we have that block of cheese there, and people like use it as a dip and so forth. It works wonderful. People love the type of cheese as well. So then we use a lot of things there, a lot of ingredients that we spoke about here, especially with the salt that we used and so forth with our recipes. So now,
I want to show them the cheese.
So my wife is going to show you what the cheese look like here. So she's going to rinse it out soon, but she's going to show you what the cheese looks like. So you see it's runny. Now you can actually put this in a pot if you want to make it thicker and cook it. I've done this before. Just cook it on top of a pot, make it thicker. But also, most of the time, most of your ingredients, you melt cheese anyways. So it's like, it makes it like in a liquid form, which most of us use our cheese in liquid forms anyways. Hardly use cheese in its hard, solid form. So now, what we're going to do here is to switch gears, and we'll be doing our better than butter recipe. And this one is a famous recipe here that we use. A lot of people love our better than butter recipe. What I want you to do here, for those who are watching online, make sure you like this video. We want to, the reason why you like this video is that it shows YouTube that you love our content. And when you show YouTube that you love our content, it recommends our videos to more people. And more people can get to see these videos and be blessed by what we share in here, how to make plant-based foods that not just taste good, but also that is healthy for your body. So then, like this video, subscribe, so that way you are notified every time we release a new video. We do these classes every Sunday at 4 o'clock. We have our live classes. But, we want to have some more classes on this channel as well. So that's something that we're going to do as well with our classes too. Now, also, we're going to be switching gears now to our better than butter recipe. But before we get there, we want to make sure that you share this video as well. So share this video with all your contacts. If you are on WhatsApp, share it on WhatsApp. If it's an email, share it for your email address, share it for your email contacts. Wherever you can share it far and wide, because we're just about to show our most powerful recipe. People love this one. People spread it in their breads and also, and so forth. The first thing that we want to do here, we always start off with adding a cup of water, and we do a tablespoon of salt. So a cup of water in a tablespoon of salt here. So right now, we don't have tablespoon here. We're going to use 3 teaspoons equals a tablespoon. So you have to know your conversions, right? And then we're going to use a cup of water, as I said before. And the reason why we do this here, we want to dissolve the salt into the water, the liquid. And this part is very important here. So the recipe we're about to show you with the better than butter, this is more like a science experiment. So then you'll be combining liquid and oil together, right? And how did you do that, you might say? Well, we use an emulsifier, but we're going to get to that very soon. So right now you put a tablespoon of salt in separately, and you stir it up, so that way you dissolve most of the salt. And the reason why you dissolve that salt in that water is so that saltiness can permeate through all the butter. So not one spot of the butter is salty and the other is not salty, right? You want to make sure that your butter is salted all the way through equally. So dissolving it first helps it when it mixing with the oil, that it all blends up, properly together. And the next thing that we're going to be doing here, we're going to be doing our oils. So we have our water that is dissolving aside, and then we also have our oils as well. And right now I have some coconut oil that we have here. And this here is, we see here that it's virgin coconut oil here, virgin coconut oil. And the reason why we get the virgin coconut oil, or it says unrefined here too as well, is because virgin coconut oil is what we call expeller pressed. It also says expeller pressed there on the label, but also it is what we call cold pressed. And the reason why we want it cold pressed is because you know this, that anything that you apply heat to, it denatures that food. But not only that, but also it can change the chemical makeup of that food, so that food can become cancerous when you apply heat, especially high heat. So there are some oils that is processed with high amounts of heat. Now, let us explain the difference between, like, let's say, virgin cold pressed oil and some of those oils that have heat applied to it. So, like, let's say we have a lot of those vegetable oils. A lot of those vegetable oils are highly processed, and that's why there's this big thing about vegetable oils. It's not that vegetable oil in and of itself is bad. Well, this is when I look at the data, this is what I see. Some people maybe might disagree, but then what happens with those vegetable oils? You don't get cold pressed vegetable oils. And a lot, by the way, in a side thought, a lot of vegetable oils are made from corn, is made from, canola, and all these things that sometimes those things are genetically modified as well. So that's another thing to look out for. A lot of those oils, vegetable oils made like the soybean oil and, all this corn oil is made from genetically modified foods that they use to process these oils. But not only that, those oils are what we call hydrogenated oils. So they add a hydrogen bond to that oil. They do that to make it more shelf stable. And the reason why it's make it more shelf stable is because the expiration date can be extended. They can make basically more money, have the oils longer on the shelves. So it's not like a concern for the grocery stores when they see that the oils won't last as long as those other oils. So what we're going to do here, when your coconut oil is solid, you can actually add the olive oil first. So that way you can, so what we're trying to do here is to make 2 cups of oil in total. So then what we're doing here is we're going to add in 3/4 cup of olive oil and 1¼ cup of coconut oil. 3/4 cup of olive oil and 1¼ cup of coconut oil. So that way you make 2 cups in oil. So when the coconut oil is solid, then you add the olive oil first. So that way when you add the coconut oil, you can see where the mark is, because the solidness you can't really measure properly when the coconut oil is solid. So then the hydrogen bond added to the oil, you need to apply high amounts of heat to add that hydrogen bond to the oil. And when you add that high amount of heat to that vegetable oil, it changes the chemical makeup, but also it hydrogenates the oil. And that oil is basically what we say is it's a free radical. It causes oxidative stress in our body. A lot of those ultra processed foods causes oxidative stress. And oxidative stress, what it does, the free radicals causes oxidative stress, and it damages your arterial walls in your body. Not only the arterial walls, but it may damage your DNA for your cells, leading to abnormal cells, which we call cancerous cells. And also because it damages the artery walls, then also you have cholesterol that goes in and try to patch it up. And when it tries to patch it up, guess what happens? That causes a cholesterol buildup in your arteries, leading to high cholesterol, leading to high blood pressure, and all those circulatory type of diseases like insulin resistance or diabetes. So vegetable oils, not that vegetable itself is bad, the oil, but the way they process them is horrible. And you don't find a lot of cold press oils. So now the cold press doesn't have the hydrogen bond added to it. It's not made with high heat, so it's actually pressed cold. That's why it's called cold pressed. So it's much more healthier for you. And so the same way with coconut oil, we also have the olive oil. We have extra virgin olive oil here. Now don't get so twisted on virgin and extra virgin. Sometimes it's just marketing. There's not much of a difference sometimes with extra virgin and virgin oils. But we just want to get the virgin. Virgin essentially means that it wasn't refined with those high heats or ultra processed. It is actually with a cold press oil that is made. Even to the top here it says cold pressed. So we have a cold pressed olive oil, and we have our cold pressed coconut oil, and these are much healthier oils for you. And I wouldn't advise anyone to use any of those vegetable oils, canola oils, soybean oils, corn oils, any of those oils. Just forget about it. Those things are very horrible for your health. So substitute that for coconut oil. And also, we don't like to fry a lot of things, right? We do more sauteing. So when you see your oil start to reach a smoking point, that's when you know that the chemical makeup of that oil is being changed. So then you want to make sure that with your oil that you don't fry, so that way you change the chemical makeup of your oils here as well. So we just added 2 cups of oil here. So we had 2 cups of oil. So we have a 1 1/4 cup of coconut oil and 3/4 cup of olive oil. And we're going to pour that into the blender. Okay? So remember I told you that this is a science experiment. You have oil there, and then we have the salt soaking into the water, 1 cup of water over there. And how are we going to combine those two together? What are we going to use for that?
We're going to use some liquid lecithin.
And how does liquid lecithin work for combining this thing together? It's an emulsifier. So the emulsifiers, now for those who on an animal-based diet, sometimes you can use eggs, right? So in mayo, like you have the water and the oil, in mayonnaise, they use eggs as an emulsifier to combine the liquid and the water together. But on a plant-based diet, we use the liquid lecithin. So this one here is made from soy. But then also there are some liquid lecithin made from sunflower seeds as well, and so forth. So we use our liquid lecithin. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of liquid lecithin. Liquid lecithin is kind of gooey. So sometimes what I like to do here is add a little bit of olive oil in there. Scoop it around the spoon here. Oh, I'm showing you all the tricks of the trade, right? So you move it around in here so it glazes your measuring spoon. And then when you put the liquid lecithin, it makes it much easier to slip out. It slips out of the spoon much easier. It doesn't stick to it because liquid lecithin actually kind of gooey. Now, I don't know if many of you have heard about lecithin, but you can actually get the granule form of the lecithin. So lecithin granules. And the lecithin is, because it's a fat emulsifier, it's also a fat emulsifier inside your body as well. So it can actually help you with cholesterol. So if you have high cholesterol, take a tablespoon of liquid lecithin, once or twice a day, and that can help you to reduce your cholesterol. So think about cholesterol affecting different types of diseases too. So if you have high blood pressure, liquid lecithin granules is great for you too as well. Diabetes, liquid lecithin granules is also great for you too. So high cholesterol, diabetes, blood pressure, you can use those lecithin granules, and it works great to help to lower cholesterol and also help to improve your blood pressure and also your diabetes, your insulin resistance. So we just added 2 tablespoons of the liquid lecithin there. All we have left to do now is to blend it up all together. So now when you blend this up, so I see here that there's a little bit of salt left in there. Maybe you can stir it a little bit more again. And as we said before, that this is a science experiment too as well, a science experiment. So when we pour this in there, it's gonna combine together so quickly. So then we're gonna start blending this first here. So the first step that you do here, you put all the oils together in the blender. You have your salt and your water separate. Then you start blending up the oils. You can put it higher. Put it high all the way. And while this is going, we're gonna add in the water into here as well, and it's gonna all mix up very quickly. You can be quick. You can pour it in quick. Okay. So we're going to do one more time. We're going to off it a little bit here. Get it going again. Then we're going to do it quickly. Looks like it's already poke a hole for that. Okay, so it settles down to the bottom. Okay, and then we're just going to do it one more time. Make sure you mix it up properly. All right, so there you have it. You've made your better than butter recipe. Now, I thought I brought a bowl up here so we can have a little bit of a mold for the butter recipe here. But this butter is going to spread like our better than butter recipe here. Let me just do it one more time and make sure it's all mixed up properly. You don't need to blend it for very long. It's become so solid already. Okay. Wow, this is, so you can see the texture right here. So you see how it is right here? It's thickened up and it has a texture. So just add in the coconut. We know that coconut oil is very hard. We know that olive oil is very liquidy. And just combining those things together makes the perfect texture of butter. And what we're going to do here is going to spread this out here.
That looks so good. I see.
I wish you guys could taste it. But you have to imagine what it tastes like. Maybe you can go mix them up right now. Yeah. Mix them at home. Maybe you don't have, most people probably won't have the liquid lecithin at home. But liquid lecithin, some people might say, where can I get those ingredients? Well, at your health food stores, most health food stores have the liquid lecithin. Also online. We've got ours online. We got it in the 2-pack, right?
Yes.
On Amazon. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the price? How much it cost?
I think it was about $21, something like that.
Yeah, it's not too expensive. And the reason why I say it's not too expensive, that liquid lecithin, basically, yeah, the two bottles that we have there, we cook those things more often than maybe the regular people. We have an institution here called Eden Lifestyle, where we bring people with all different types of illness to overcome the illness naturally. So actually our website is edenlifestylehome.org. Eden, like the Garden of Eden, lifestylehome.org. And people come to our lifestyle center and basically we can have sometimes upwards to 15 people here at once or even 20 people here at once. So we cook a lot and just these 2 bottles of liquid lecithin can last us more than a year. Or even longer than that, a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. Yeah, so then this is how we make our butter recipe here. Now, the thing is, with our butter recipe, we see that it looks like butter. It spreads like butter. It tastes like butter, but it ain't butter. It's actually better than butter. Our better than butter recipe. So try this at home. It is better. The reason why it's better than butter is because it doesn't come with all the harmful effects of consuming just the regular butter. Regular butter can raise your cholesterol. Regular butter can basically increase your risk of developing cancer and diabetes and blood pressure and all those various forms of diseases, lifestyle diseases, just by substituting it here in something that can take you 5 minutes or less to make. You can actually prevent some of the diseases from coming upon you. So my wife is showing you how it spreads there. It's pretty nice. Yeah, so it spreads pretty nice. It's actually in a form where we can take this and spread this on bread right now.
And when you put it in the fridge, it gets a little harder than that, like butter that you cut regularly.
And you take a butter knife and you just the same way you treat your butter with your butter knife and so forth, your regular butter. Okay, yeah. So this is how you make your butter recipe here, and you keep it in the fridge. It can last upwards to 3 weeks. If you have a clean container that is sterilized, you can probably even last this up to 1 month. But 3 weeks or so forth, this can last you in the refrigerator. And you spread this over your toast. You can use it in bacon. The same when recipes call for butter. You can use this in bacon as well. You want to say something too? No. Yeah. So then we've made this. We use this in our muffins and all different types of stuff. We make the butter, whatever recipes calls for butter. And what we want to do here, we want to teach people how to live a healthier lifestyle. And we mentioned about our Eden Lifestyle Home already, where we help people overcome the disease naturally. We actually cook a lot of these healthy foods for our health guests who come to our lifestyle center here in upstate New York, in the mountains here in upstate New York. And people have overcome their blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, and all these various diseases just by changing their lifestyle around. And the biggest part of that here is the food that they put into their bodies. So when you go home, what can I eat is the question that most people ask. And right now we want to be able to incorporate this into our classes. So we show people what they can eat at home to be able to sustain this lifestyle that we're teaching you. We're teaching you to eat a whole food plant-based diet. And some of you might ask, how can I eat a whole food plant-based diet? Well, actually, this leads us into a very important challenge that we have out there. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to post this challenge in the chat and also in the description of this video. It's called the Original Lifestyle Challenge. And the Original Lifestyle Challenge is to challenge people to live those 8 principles that the longest living in the world, people in the world, especially in the US too as well, that they incorporate into their lifestyle. And we use this acronym called God's Plan, where you trust in God, godly trust, open air, you get some fresh air, you get some daily exercise, some sunlight, you drink lots of water, you always temperate, and nutrition. So we're showing you here how to have a nutritious diet, which we advocate for, a whole food plant-based diet. But this challenge, the Original Lifestyle Challenge, is just to challenge you to get up, daily and go exercising. We challenge you to be able to drink some more water daily. We challenge you to be able to go out into the sun. We challenge you to practice temperance. So it's like a whole community of people signing up. We have lots of people signing up already. We actually have an early bird special happening right now. We're extending our early bird special for everyone that is watching this video today, a part of this class. Our early bird special, we say, you know what? We have our live class today. We wanted to tell people more about the Original Lifestyle Challenge. And I said, let me just extend the early bird until midnight today. So until midnight today, you can be able to sign up for the Original Lifestyle Challenge, and you join a whole community of people that wants to eat healthier, that will share recipes. We also have a recipe book that comes with the challenge. We have some devotional that comes with the challenge. We also have classes, upwards to 20 classes that we talk about. You're talking about the 8 laws of health, how to treat your body better. And also we have some cooking classes as well, where you show you how to make some more healthy foods. We'll be getting into some of the substitutes, things that you can use on a day-to-day basis to incorporate healthy living into your lifestyle. So we're just challenging you to live healthier. And people that have gone on the challenges before in the past, people have lost weight. Their blood pressure goes down, their diabetes begins to reverse, and just by living a healthier lifestyle. And this is the lifestyle principles that we teach here at our lifestyle center as well, to allow people to prevent disease and also reverse disease from coming on them. Even my wife has a great testimony. Hopefully you can share it in the future. What disease did you have before?
Well, I was diagnosed some years back with lupus, which is an autoimmune disease, connective tissue disease. And they say that it's incurable, but today I have absolutely no symptoms, no sign. There's no sign of the disease anywhere. None of the pain that I used to have. So I can safely say that the Lord has healed me.
Yes, definitely. And she even did some tests that showed it come back negative for all the things that showed inflammation in the body. She had none again. And just some context, my wife would have pain all day. And to a point where in the night she couldn't even sleep properly because of the pain, the ache that she had throughout her body. And just by changing her lifestyle around, doing some cleansing, like some of you have done our Total Body Reset program. We can leave the link to that as well. You can do that on demand. You don't have to, or it's already past our workshop, but we have all the recordings and we can send you the cleanse kit to your house. So she did some cleansing. You did about sometimes 2 or 3 cleanses in a year. Yeah. So she did some total body cleansing, and then she changed her lifestyle around. So then this is the order that we've been doing. We did a cleanse at the beginning of the year. Now we're doing our Original Lifestyle Challenge, and by following this lifestyle principles, my wife was able to overcome her illness, her lupus disease, that the doctors say that she had to live it for the rest of her life. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to take what the doctors say, oh, you live with this for the rest of your life. We want to rebuke that and say, you know what, I can overcome. I can be healthier. Mm-hmm. I can actually overcome this disease by changing my lifestyle around. And that's basically what we want to do here with our cooking classes. We want to be able to share with you some recipes that will allow you to live a healthier lifestyle, healthier cooking recipes. So just get the Original Lifestyle Challenge again. It's going to end, the sign up is going to end at midnight tonight. So make sure that you look into the description below, and also that you look into the chat, so that way you can be able to sign up for our Original Lifestyle Challenge. And that way you can join a whole community of people doing it all together. So that way you can also help to reverse your disease, lose weight, and just help to prevent disease from coming on you. And some young people might be watching this here as well, and you might be wondering, should I change my lifestyle around? I'm pretty healthy. Healthy doesn't mean that you that you're not sick, right? Health doesn't mean that you're not sick. There's more to health than this. Sometimes disease can be brewing in your body, even though it doesn't show as symptoms as yet. So you want to take care of your body right now, before it's too late, before you get those diseases. So, I've changed my diet from the time I was, I believe, 18 years old. And now I'm 32 years old, and it's been a while, with God's blessing, almost 15 years of a lifestyle change that I've done. Mm-hmm. So then we've made together today, we made the milk recipe, we've made also a cheese recipe, and we've made also a butter recipe. Now the reason why we want to substitute those, and the reason why we started with those, is because these are common items in your kitchen. When we look at milk today, some of the milks that are on the supermarket shelves, especially those cow's milk, animal-based milk, those have pus cells inside of there. There's a certain amount of pus cells that is allowed in your milk. It also has protein that can turn on cancer in your body. And also that milk, the only form of cholesterol comes from animals. So there's also cholesterol in those things as well. So when you look at the milk and the cheese, especially the cheese, there's also something called tyramine in the cheese that can lead to headache and so many other illnesses. Just the butter as well, butter raising cholesterol and clogging up your arteries. And also when your arteries is clogged up, that can make, you have some brain fog and so forth. Those ingredients in your kitchen is leading you to be sick. And some of you out there today might be wondering, how can I overcome my sickness? I have blood pressure, I have diabetes, I have cancer. What can I do? What can I eat? And what we're showing you here is we're showing you what you can eat to be able to reverse those diseases, those illnesses, and also prevent those illnesses as well. So just by substituting your milk, there's a reason why the milk is pasteurized today. And the reason why the milk is pasteurized is because they try to kill some of those bacteria that is in the milk. Back in the day, the milk was, when they started to fit the cow's milk to infants, the infants started dying. There was increase in infant mortality. So then they said, let's start to pasteurize the milk, because the bacteria in the milk was increased infant mortality and so many other stuff that the bacteria in there did. So now they boil it at a high temperature to be able to kill those bacteria. So then we just want to do something where we can avoid that altogether. We don't have to consume any of that harmful bacteria. We don't have to consume any of that added cholesterol from the milk as well. We don't have to consume all those things that is basically harmful to our body. So what we're doing here is to show you how to make the substitutes, because even some of the stuff at the store may not be good. Some of the plant-based milks at the store have so many ingredients in there, so many additives, that it may not be the best for our diet either. Some of those cheese that is out there as well.
Yeah, a lot of the cheeses now have the
modified
cornstarch, tapioca starch, and these modified cornstarch and tapioca starch are GMO, genetically modified.
Most likely genetically modified.
Yes, so there are very few that have organic tapioca starches and stuff like that.
Or no starch altogether.
Yeah, so it's always best to make your own, and then what is in your food. You know what's in there, and you don't have to worry about any extra ingredients that you don't want.
Yeah, and when you think about the starches as well, so a lot of people don't know this. People always say, I don't eat plant-based because there's genetically modified food, so there's no escaping the harmful effects in our food. Well, just to let you know, probably close to 90% of the genetically modified ingredients of foods is actually fed to livestock. And the rest of those genetically modified foods that is not fed to livestock, that we eat, when I say livestock, I mean animals like the cows, the chickens, and so forth. Because of mass production of the animals, there's a lot of genetically modified foods that is fed to them. So then the rest of the genetically modified foods, we have here that they add those, like the tapioca starch, the corn starch, and also the oils, vegetable oil and so forth. Most of the GMO ingredients in our food comes through those forms. The starches, the oils, And mainly, that's where it comes from. So GMO foods, if you want to stay away from them, you probably want to stay away from those cornstarch and tapioca starch and those vegetable oils that is hydrogenated, but also GMO at the same time.
Canola oil.
The canola oil, which is actually
a lot of stuff, yeah.
It's actually rapeseed oil that they converted into canola oil. So then, so you want to make sure that you stay away from those ingredients in your food and do your best. We tell people all the time, people say, oh, should I just buy organic only? Well, we tell people, you can look at the Dirty Dozen list on the internet. There's such a Dirty Dozen. Try to get those non-GMO or organic as much as you can. But at the same time, don't stress about getting everything organic. It's much more expensive. Most of the stuff that we go through today as society started coming on us after they introduced those GMO foods. So conventional, we did fine with conventional sprays and stuff like that, but those harsh chemicals because of GMO foods like the Roundup and glyphosate, those cause a lot of damage to our bodies. So try to get especially those GMO foods organic and just do the rest. You can do the rest conventional if you cannot afford organic. We tell people all the time. You want to add something? Okay. Yeah, so then try to eat as clean as possible. For those who are signing up for the original lifestyle diet, we have a Eden meal plan guide that will be giving you with that. And also we go a little more into detail about what the best diet, what that entails. So what to add into your food and what to remove from your food and substitute in your food, and how to make plant-based foods. Also, it comes with some recipes. So about 2 weeks of recipes and also a meal plan. So how you can structure that throughout your days that you eat. So just sign up for the original lifestyle challenge, and you can be able to experience some real good results in your life today. Yep.
Are you going to be opening up for questions?
Yeah, so then if you want, you can ask the questions in the chat here. And also throughout, we're gonna have someone answering some of those questions in the chat as well for you guys. So that way you can answer any questions in the chat for you. Until then, we're gonna be continuing next week. I don't know if you can have to ask the Mrs. here. We have a newborn baby. She is 3 months old today, and my wife, I try to get her onto a video, but it's difficult when you're breastfeeding because you have to time it properly. And
it's
right
also
now,
difficult when you don't like to be on camera.
Yeah, she's camera shy too. Not really, camera shy. She just needs to warm up to it. But my wife has a great personality, so she's a good camera personality, right? Okay. Let me not make it turn any more red than she's turning right now.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Eden Lifestyle Live. We'll see you next week.
So when we're gonna have our next segment?
Next week.
Okay. Hopefully next week. So if everything goes according to plan, if we have to pre-record it or we do it live, then next week we'll see you guys. At the same time, we have our live classes every Sunday at 4 o'clock. We all have right now a natural remedies uncut segment. So we show you a lot of natural remedies that you can use from your kitchen. We also started a Back to Eden segment. So we talk about those 8 principles that we've talked about before. It's more educational type of lectures. And then also now we started our experiments, the plant-based experiments, our class here that we're going to be doing with making plant-based foods and so forth. So there's a lot of information that we have to give you guys all for free, that I pray that you are blessed with this information. If you want to support us, you can always go to edenlifestyle.org and you can donate there, or you can go to our store. You can buy something from our store. We have some stuff for all different types of illnesses that you can think of. You can support us in those different ways. So we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Take care.